Hello, welcome to the Children's Workshop School virtual tour. My name is Jessica. I'm a fifth grade teacher at Children's Workshop School.
And my name is Suma. Hi, I'm one of the pre-K teachers at the Children's Workshop School. Welcome.
So, we are usually the ones who give you this tour in person. We love doing it. We come up, we talk with you, you're in our library, we walk you around the school. But of course, right now, with the situation as it is, that is not possible. So, we wanted to find a way to be able to still share with you what's so special about our school. And so, to give you a kind of virtual look at what's happening within our building and what happens within our classrooms, we hope that you enjoy this and that you're able to kind of get a peek at Children's Workshop School. So, we, as a fifth grade teacher and a pre K teacher, kind of give you a bookend understanding as to who we are. So, enjoy. So, like we said, we're the Children's Workshop School. We do identify as a progressive school. We do believe in progressive education. That phrase gets thrown around a lot. So, we like to define what that means for us. So, for us, our approach is a social studies centered curriculum. What that means is we use social studies as a core to explore all of the other subjects. So, for example, in fifth grade, when my fifth graders are exploring westward expansion in social studies, in writing, they're writing historical journals as if they're traveling with Lewis and Clark, exploring the Louisiana Purchase. They're reading authentic documents from the time period. In math, they're using the acreages to be able to understand what they're doing with their percentages and with their decimals. In art, they're creating Homestead Act advertisements. In science, they're talking about health, but also health on the Oregon Trail. So we really use that social studies core, that topic or whatever it is that we're studying, to explore everything else. For us as well, it also means field trips. It also means as much experiential learning as possible for the students. We want them to have hands-on work. So there's a lot of project making, as you see. There's a lot of conversations that happen with the kids. And again, having that firsthand knowledge is really important to us. And when our principal created the school, along with our co-director at the time, having that approach to teaching and learning was something that was, so vital to who we are at Children's Workshop School. So Maria Velez Clark is our principal, and she also is a co-creator of our school, along with Jean Finnerty. And when they created the school, they did it with Martin Luther King's beliefs, his ideas for the world, his hopes for the world in mind. This is what the core of our school has always been. And that presents itself in a variety of ways for us. And what's great is one thing that we do every year is we kind of go back to who we are as a school and we reflect back on why we do things the way that we do things, why we explore the topics that we explore, and why we have students delve deep into this, these difficult and challenging ideas, even from pre-K, obviously all the way to fifth grade. And so we do this every year in a celebration that we call Martin Luther King Honoring the Dream celebration. Obviously, this year it's going to look a little bit different. As you saw in those pictures, it's usually in person. It's gotten to be so big that we actually have the meeting at another school that's a middle school, high school that has a much larger auditorium than ours. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen this year. So we've had to pivot. We've had to figure out ways of still having that message happen. So we're doing the staff a variety of read alouds with students and creating music and playlists for students to be able to engage with, to still have that experience, to still have that community and that reminder of who we are, at CWS and why we are the way that we are. So that's something that, we're continuing to do. It's important to note too, as I said, Maria Velez Clark is still our principal, so she has been our principal, since the beginning. It's very unusual, something that you will not, find, and something that we're really proud of.
25, 26 years ago now.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the things that was started 26 years ago was
community meeting. So community meeting is a time for all of us, the whole entire school community, to come together. And normally, if we were, in our regular times, we would be meeting in the auditorium. So the entire school, all the classes come together. Families are welcome to come together. And it's a time for us to almost have this time for us to be together and sing school songs together, share what's going on in our classrooms. As Jessica had mentioned, we are that social studies based curriculum school. So, when my class is learning, we're doing a study about our names, we might do a name song for the entire school to share and learn about so that they know what's going on in our classrooms. Jessica's class last year, when they were learning about their three branches of government, they put it to a Queen song, and we were able to really enjoy and learn from that. So it's a really wonderful way for us to all come together and be together during at least once a week. And families are welcome to come. And it was a great time for, maybe your child is in a different classroom with different friends right now. So families get to see each other during that time too. So what we're doing now, because we can't all be together in the auditorium, is we're still keeping that community meeting alive. So every Friday, we send out a community meeting link that's onto all of our Google Classrooms, so families can see it. So we have read alouds, we have songs that we sing together. Sometimes it's the teachers, sometimes it's the students singing. And it's also still, we're continuing to share what's in our classroom. So when a writing unit is completed in a classroom, we can't really have our writing celebrations anymore and invite families in. So we're sharing our writing, we're sharing our projects online now during these Google Classroom community meetings that we have, and we're able to, kind of interact with each other in that way. So we are definitely trying to adapt for our community in the best that we can.
So going back to kind of that foundation as to who we are as a school and the importance of community and the importance of Martin Luther King in our school community and our school identity, activism is extremely important for us at CWS. We really want students to understand that regardless of how old they are, their voice matters, their voice should be heard, and they have every right to get that voice out there. And that they also have a responsibility to help support and fight for others as well who need that support. And that happens a variety of ways, across our grades. We every year as a school do a World AIDS Day walk on December 1st. This year, obviously, we weren't able to do that together, but we had kind of a virtual session where there was some singing that we normally would do all together, but we did it virtually instead, had those conversations in the classes. Of course, the conversations look very different on topics like this from pre-K to fifth grade, but we still have those conversations. The kids really are encouraged to be able to find topics that they're passionate about, find issues in the world that they're concerned about, and to communicate that and to help find ways that they can help make the world a better place on that individual level. When we're doing that, AIDS walk, and, the fifth graders are thinking about it in a particular way, but with the pre-K students, they've had conversations about, we're trying to make people feel better. We're trying to make some noise and say, hey, listen, like, we're here and we're here to help you and help you feel better. And that's, the kind of the conversations they're having at that level. So we definitely find ways to make sure that the students feel heard and that they feel that they're a part of this, and also that it's grade appropriate and age appropriate as well.
Yeah, so definitely, like when we're, making our signs for our walk, we're thinking, okay, we want the neighborhood to people that aren't feeling well to be able to hear us singing our songs and know that we're thinking of them. So like Jessica said, it's very age appropriate, the conversations that we have in our classrooms. And next thing that makes our school so special, that we think, another thing is reading buddies. So reading buddies is a wonderful time where the older grades are paired up with a younger class, and sometimes they'll come down to our classes, or we'll go upstairs to the big kid classes, and we read stories together, and we do art projects together. Sometimes we might have a snack together, and it's just another way for that sense of community, for children to learn about one another, to meet other friends in their classrooms. And unfortunately, because of everything right now, we can't have reading buddies our usual way. So in the spring, actually, we had some of our older reading buddies. They really wanted to keep that connection going. So a lot of our older friends in our third, fourth, and fifth grade classes, who are the big reading buddies, said we want to continue it. So they really discussed with their teachers, what should we do? So they decided that they were going to pick stories and books that they had in their homes, record themselves, and share it to the classes that they're with. So like in my pre-K class, once a week we would get maybe 3 or 4 videos of children reading children's books that they had in their homes because they wanted their little reading buddies to know that they were thinking of them and to enjoy it. So, and for us it was that anticipation, oh, which reading buddy is going to, whose story are we reading this week. So it was a really special time for us that the older kids still wanted to continue that. And that leads to community service. So all of the fifth graders in Jessica's class and the other fifth grade class, once a week, and sometimes even more, they come and help us in our classrooms. So I would have students come down and help maybe tie a shoe, zip up a jacket, maybe do a little art project with their little buddies. Maybe they're taking someone to the office because they've just lost a tooth and they want their tooth certificate, a necklace from the principal. So it's a way for the fifth graders, who are the seniors of our school, to give back, to help out, and to know that they are also continuing to make a difference. And I know, they really look forward to coming to the classes, and they've created some great relationships that
Yeah,
way.
the fifth graders absolutely love it. They feel like rock stars. They're the seniors of the school, and they really understand during that community service time the idea that there's no act that's too small. That's when you're in service of others, and something that it's probably become clear so far that community is very important to us at CWS, and really helping to how those fifth graders understand that those little acts of kindness are so important, and really are powerful and definitely make a difference for sure.
So we also have science and gym, which you'll see some pictures of. So we have science in our classrooms. In all of our rooms, you'll see we do science projects, and we're learning about different topics through the years. And we also have a designated science room right now with a science teacher, where we can continue learning and doing science experiments and projects. And it's not just in the classroom. We love to go to neighborhood walks or go to local areas, so we can still continue that experiential learning. We have gym in our school, which we're very lucky to have our coach, and we've done things from learning how to be a team player to the basics of balancing and hopping. So the children really look forward to learning and playing with one another, different gym strategies. So and we've been really enjoying it even now, even though we can't be all together for gym class. So what we do with our gym teacher is we are remote with our gym teacher. So he'll come into our rooms, or he might be teaching gym class remote. So you might be doing gym from your home as well.
Exactly. So one of the things that we like to talk about, I'm sure other schools have said the same thing, but we have the best PTA in the entire world. We do like to point out that we are a PTA, meaning a Parent Teacher Association. We are not just a PA, and we think that's a really important distinction to make, because we really believe in this team, this partnership between staff and families, between teachers and families, and it's a very strong one. It's one that we value. It's one that we make sure that we are upholding always. And having that relationship has been invaluable to us for a variety of reasons. One being that, the PTA works extremely hard in trying to make sure that we have everything that, we need or we want. And they do everything they possibly can to help that happen. One thing in particular is our amazing library and gym that Suma's going to talk about, or library and auditorium, excuse me.
Thanks. So our library is located on the 4th floor, and it's a shared space. So our school, as I'm sure you've been looking at, is a shared space. We have 3 schools in our building: the Children's Workshop School, East Village Community School, and PS 94, which is a school on the autism spectrum. So we share many different designated areas in our building amongst the 3 schools, the library being one of them. And many years ago, at least over 15 years ago, the families in our school got together and came up with a grant because we needed a library. And what was really great is when these families came in, and one of the initial grant writers was our parent coordinator, Dorothy. She's a woman that wears many hats.
Yes.
She first came to our school as a parent, and walked in and asked, "Where's the library?" And we didn't have one. So she and some other families got together and spoke to our principal and said, can we work on trying to get a library? So they worked on a grant, and they were able to really work together and get a grant so that all three schools can share that space. And what's great is Dorothy is still there. Her children have, graduated from our school, but she helps run the library. So each class used to be able to go to the library at least once a week and check out books and, just kind of also enjoy that space. What's really nice about the library right now, it is there are no actual, big desktop computers. We do have some laptops, but it's a zone where we like to have the kids actually feel the books and look at books and enjoy books and take out books. Unfortunately, right now we cannot go to the library, so Dorothy brings the library to us. So she gets a bunch of books out for all of our classes and brings them to our room, and the children get to choose a book to take home for the week, and then they are able to return it. So we're trying to work our ways into our new way of using the library. And same with our auditorium. Our building is over 100 years old. So our wonderful parents got together when we needed some more grant work writing to help us update and upgrade our auditorium. So we were able to, a few years ago, really come into the new century with our with our new auditorium.
And what's amazing is our PTA, who has always been very creative with the fundraising that they've done, and really kept in mind the importance of community with how they fundraise. So all of our usual methods of fundraising are all very community based. We have a harvest festival every year where it's held at the school. It's a family event. Students come. There's everything from pumpkin painting to we've had
square dancing.
Yes, square dancing. We've had my goodness, apple
popping.
Yes, exactly. So amazing, wonderful fall activities. We've also had winter fairs where we support local artisans. We have an arts and science fair every year, another family event at the school where students can come and do different art projects and science projects with your family. And then we also have every year a Schoolapalooza event, which is our only grown-ups only event, which the kids are always jealous about. So all of the families and the staff, we all go and we have an amazing time, an amazing dinner, and there's usually performances from different musicians and also from family musicians as well, which is really exciting. So all of these amazing events that we have that are really geared towards, community building, not just fundraising, unfortunately, we are not able to have this year. So our PTA has been doing a wonderful job of finding alternative ways of raising money that are still trying to kind of keep us very close-knit as a community. One thing we're doing is some of the artists that we have as parents have created a variety of new logos and different fun designs for different CWS merchandise that we're, selling online. And then we also too have what's really exciting is we're working on a CWS cookbook. So we have recipes from not only families, but also staff members. And we are able to make this cookbook virtually to be able to do that. And then the idea is we're going to try to have some virtual cooking where we're all logging in together and cooking together and having a big cooking session, as a whole community. So they're being super creative with how they're approaching, what normally would be a very in-person heavy kind of interaction with the PTA. We're having all of our meetings online, everything. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do that. But we're doing it. So something else that's been really great that we've been able to have throughout the years at CWS is music programs, a variety of different music programs, from VH1 Save the Music back in the day to different music programs throughout the city. And what we're really excited about is we are starting a new partnership with Third Street Music. It is a wonderful organization that's a local organization that we're really excited about. And we're particularly excited about them because they actually are offering virtual content for us. So when we are back fully in person, they'll be able to, come in to the school when that's allowed again and be able to do music classes with students from pre-K to fifth grade in person. But until then, their amazing musician teachers have created programs that we're going to be able to do virtually with students. So that's actually going to be starting very soon in the next month or two with our school. So we're super excited about that. And then something else too that we've had to kind of adapt. So as you see here, our fifth graders in some very impressive yoga moves that I would definitely not be able to do. We have yoga at our school. It's something that we also have to thank the PTA for. That's something else that they have funded along with our music programs. We've had yoga for many years, and it is fascinating to see students who started out in pre-K, where it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Suma, but a lot of just getting our energy out.
Yeah, a lot of hopping, a lot of jumping, how to bring your body back to controlling yourselves to this in
Yeah,
fifth grade.
to being able to do crow. So there's definitely that progression happens. What we're really excited about, it happened last year in the spring, and it's going to be able to happen again this time. Again, since we're not able to bring yoga into the school, we're going to be able to have our virtual yoga sessions. So our amazing yoga teachers have been able to do live yoga sessions with classes of all the grades, being able to have them do that work remotely, find a safe spot in home where they can really, reach out and stretch out and still practice yoga and still be able to have that consistency. So we're very excited that we're able to, continue that with the kids as well. So also, something else that we have at Children's Workshop School, obviously not right now because we're not in person, but when fully in person, but when we are back together and we're able to have all of this, we actually offer after school programs. So after school clubs, something that the parents in our school help to organize and to figure out. So our school day goes generally, when we're not in the situation, is from 8:40 to 3. And what we started doing, because parents were saying, we would really appreciate some type of after school program in school where we didn't have to worry about getting our child to another location. So this idea was invented, was created. So we have had a variety of clubs, from mural club to Spanish club to baking, chess, karate, Lego robotics club, any club you can imagine. I guarantee you we've had that club. And what's great is clubs in general are offered twice throughout the year, so your children can switch up halfway through the year if they want to try a different club. There are clubs available 5 days a week, and they go from 3 to 4:45. And what's been great in the past is families will just transition their kids right into clubs. So that helps them at the end of the day in terms of transitioning and being able to have pickup. We started offering a couple years ago even after club care. So for people who needed a little bit of extra time on Mondays through Thursdays, your child can be in after club care till I believe it's 5:50 on those days. So when we're back in this usual CWS setting, that's definitely something your family would be able to take advantage of. So enjoy that.
So when we are talking about our curriculum, Jessica had started off with telling you about our social studies-based curriculum. We wanted to kind of explain what's going on in different age levels. So since, in pre-K, it's all about themselves, as most of you know. It's all about your child, those 4-year-olds. So that's what we start off our unit of learning, all about me. So we really start off just learning about each other. We learn about how to be really good listeners. We learn about how to ask questions, and a lot of noticings, a lot of similarities, a lot of differences between our families, between our likings, where we go in the neighborhood. Then we kind of, progress into our name study. Why is our name so important? Why did our grown-ups in our family decide on those names? And that leads us into our family visits, which you can see some pictures of right here. And it's a way for us to learn about one another, to learn about different cultures, to learn about different religions, to learn about different types of families. So it's great. We have had so many different types of family visits to learn. We have had families come in, and we've had sing-alongs because some parents are musicians. We've had breakfast because every Saturday, you and your family, you might be making pancakes every Saturday. So that's what you wanted to share about your family. We've had families that have brought tents in because they go camping. It's just a way for us to learn about different friends, families, different cultures, try new things. We want that exposure for the children and for them to learn and experience and ask questions. From kindergarten, I'm sorry, from pre K, we move into kindergarten. So we're now learning from ourselves and our families into our school community and our neighborhood, which is really nice. So the kindergartners are very, very serious when they come up with their interview questions
Oh yeah.
about learning about the school staff, and setting up appointments. In our mailboxes, we will get sign up sheets, to please schedule for an appointment. And if you're late, they will come and, ask you the questions that they have come up with because they really want to know the reason of the importance of you in our school, because everybody has such an important role in our school building, from the principal to teachers to custodial staff, lunchroom. Everybody is involved. From that, they move into our neighborhood study. So they might go to the bodega across the street, or they might go to the post office or a local restaurant to learn about what's going on in the neighborhood. And right now, what's happening is we can't go on trips right now, right? It's just not that safe. So um, what some of our teachers have done, actually, in our first and second grade class, and a lot of the other teachers are starting also, we are doing virtual trips in a different way. So let me talk about that first. So what they'll do is the teacher has gone on the trip virtually, and they were going on a neighborhood trip, which is something that the first and second graders do. So the first and second grade classes either are doing a water study or they are working on the New York City neighborhood. So one of our teachers with his class created a map and said, okay, this is the trip we're going on. The teacher went to all the spots on the map, and the children were on this trip virtually with the teacher. So when the teacher went to this one park, he was able to show his class that was online what was happening at the park, noticing things that they had learned about online. And then he would go to a different destination. And what was great is the kids were so involved in their virtual trip because they couldn't really go on a real trip like that, but virtually they were still traveling together. And some families actually even, met the teacher at different destinations so that the children and everybody involved could really experience the field trip together. And as you're seeing in the pictures, what they're learning on their trips, they're bringing back into our classroom and really recreating it. So when we used to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, they would come back and build the Brooklyn Bridge with their blocks. Some of us are home right now, so you might be maybe using your Legos at home or boxes that you found that were delivered to you and cutting them out and creating buildings for them. So we really want to use what we have to recreate what we're learning. So we're really, field trips, as Jessica said, is a very important part of our curriculum. So we are trying to find new ways to bring that back into their learning.
And Suma also mentioned that this is the 1-2s. We refer to them as the 1-2s. So it's first and second grade. So in our school, first and second grade, the classrooms are bridged. So that means they're first graders and second graders in the same classrooms. Our school used to be entirely bridged, actually. It used to be pre-K, K1, 1-2, all the way up to 5-6. And then a variety of things happened, right? So sixth grade was moved out of elementary and put into middle school, and pre-K funding changed. A whole bunch of things changed. But we're really happy that we've been able to maintain our 1-2 bridge. We feel like it is such an important time in student development, and having that bridge allows for even more varied groupings than what we're already able to do within a particular grade. And it's that point where there are kids who might, be really successful in their reading, let's say, but need a little bit of extra support in their math, and things are just different. Kids are developing at different levels and different rates and different areas and different subjects. That's that time. And having that 1-2 bridge really allows there to be a lot of diversity in how the teachers are grouping students and working with students. Of course, the expectation in terms of what we're looking at in terms of second grade or what we're looking at in terms of first grade, we keep that in mind. We in general take a universal approach to how we design our curricula and the work that we're doing with students. So what that means is it allows for multiple points of entry. So regardless of where a student is, they're able to engage with the lesson, and then what we're asking of them is then catered towards where they are academically and what we're expecting of them and that particular child, in that moment, in that particular lesson. So having that 1-2 bridge is something that, we're really happy and really excited we still have. When we are again, in our usual setting, something that's really exciting that we have is the second graders actually have a swimming program. They're able to go at the beginning of the year for several months with teachers. Obviously, this is something that you can opt into or choose not to do if you don't want your child to do it. But they're able to go to a local pool where there are swim teachers that actually teach the kids how to swim once a week. They're able to do this. And it's something that they are so excited about. They come back grinning, super proud of themselves, of a new skill that they've learned. And it's something that we're really excited that we've been able to do now for several years for our second graders. So continuing in up the grades, we're getting into third grade. So third grade explores communities around the world. So this is a really amazing opportunity. So if you notice, we started very insular, right? Like with pre-K, very much about themselves, and then kindergarten, we're starting to expand a little bit more into my community and around me in my school. And then first and second grade, it's, the communities around New York. And then third grade, we're ready to start talking about the world. So they're talking about what things look like around the world, whether it's geographical, whether it's cultural, whether it's political, exploring the differences that they find. And what's great is still finding ways to share that information with projects, with presentations, with discussions. Students are able to use a variety of options to be able to share what they understand. And obviously now there's a lot more, technology involved in it than it was before. We actually have a amazing tech team that's made up of parents and staff and administration, and we've been able to do quite a bit of funding. So we have a ton of laptops that we've been able to share with the families, and we have Promethean boards, and we have a lot of different technology that we're able to use to help our teaching with students. And now being in the setting that we're in, we're feeling even more thankful that we had all these resources, at our disposal that we were able to incorporate with student work. Something to also discuss is our third and fourth grade teachers, they actually loop with students. So what that means is the class stays together with the same teacher. So one teacher, let's say Scott, is teaching in third grade with his class, and then next year he would travel with his class to fourth grade. And be able to stay with that class in fourth grade. And then come the following year, when that class moves up to fifth grade, Scott would move back down to third grade with a new class. So that consistency with that community is really an amazing thing and really allows kids to kind of have that security for 2 years and really be able to develop their confidence within a very familiar community. Something that we're showing you right here is an amazing thing that ended up happening in our building. So our building's very old. It's over 100 years old. And one student one day in one of our third, fourth grade classes realized that there was a little coin sticking out of the floorboard in one of the closets and pulled it out and found it was a very old coin and was kind of fascinated by it. And the kids were talking about what could be under these floorboards. And one of our amazing teachers was like, you know what, this can become a whole student-led project. And it turned into the most amazing multi-year project that is continuing to happen. It's called Closet Archaeology. So basically what's happened is over the years, all the different classrooms that have those original closets, we've been pulling up the floorboards. One of our teachers, Jeff, one of our 1-2 teachers, who's our resident handyman, helps to pull up the floorboards. The kids glove up and they go in and they find all these amazing items that are incredibly old. They're finding, movie tickets. They're finding old report cards. They're finding old notes from, 60 years ago. Yeah.
Baseball cards, so many things.
So many things. And what's been really fascinating is they were able to contact even some of the people that they found their name attached to a particular report card or what have you, and be able to have discussions and invite those people in to talk with them. And then what was wonderful is they were able to actually have a temporary museum installation at the City of Relinquiry. And this is actually photos from their installation. If you want to see more about it, there's an amazing New York Times article about it. So please, look that up and check that out. But it was a really wonderful thing to be able to see. So as we transition into fourth grade, students are focusing on the Lenape, colonization, immigration. We live in New York City, and like Suma was mentioning, field trips are so important to us, and we're really fortunate to live in such a diverse city that really allows us to have a lot of these conversations and to visit a lot of places that are very authentic, and where we can meet people who are willing to share their stories. And speaking of which, if you in any way connect to any of our curriculum, be ready to be called in to ask to share your experience. Be ready for those kids to be wanting to interview you and understand more about your experience in your life. We really believe in having those firsthand accounts and having students really be active in their learning in that way. So what you see here is a picture of a farm. So every year, when we're not in the situation we're in, the fourth graders actually go live on a farm for a few days. So we have a sister school. Manhattan Country School is a private school uptown. They own a farm in upstate New York. And this beautiful farm is something that we have been able to have our fourth graders go and visit for several days, every year. And it's amazing. I always love hearing the stories about the kids who really haven't been out of the city. When they get there and they look around and they're like, this is it. There are no other, large buildings. There's no skyscrapers, and they're milking cows and they're taking care of animals and they are in charge of cooking.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So it's a really fantastic experience that has been something that students are able to kind of look back on as kind of a pivotal moment in their learning and understanding. And then throughout that experience at the farm, they're continuing their everyday lessons with their teachers, and making those connections to what they're learning about in their particular subjects with what's happening on the farm and farm life in general. So fifth grade, we have a general overall kind of theme for the year of civil rights. So we look at everything that we explore with the lens of civil rights. So whether it's talking about slavery and the civil rights movement, or talking about government and your rights as a citizen, talking about geography and land ownership and what that means historically and currently. We talk about westward expansion and the rights of women and people of color. We talk about ancient Mayans and the rights of different people throughout the system of, whether you're royalty or whether you're not royalty. So we talk about this lens of civil rights often. We absolutely love students across all the grades, to create projects, to find multiple ways of sharing their understanding, whether it's writing a story, whether it's creating a poster, whether it's creating a 3D model of, I believe that was the Edmund Pettus Bridge from a walk that John Lewis did on Bloody Sunday. There's so many different ways we feel like people can share their understanding, and we want to make sure that students have those variety of ways. So something, if you were able to be in person, you would be able to see as you walk through our building. We have in every room, obviously, it looks a little bit different from pre-K to fifth grade, but we all have a meeting area, and then our tables are such that it's community seating when we are not in a pandemic. And students, the idea behind that is students are then able to work with each other, to advise each other, to help each other grow as learners. We do kind of a workshop model with our writing and reading curriculum, where there will be some type of mini lesson, and then the students then working on whatever that skill is or whatever that topic is, individually or in partnerships or in small groups. With our math curriculum, we also are really excited about this curriculum we've been using called Bridges, that really works on hands-on and makes a lot of connections across different topics, different ideas, and really helps kids to be able to think abstractly, but also in a concrete way. Really grounds their mathematical thinking too. So those are things you'd be seeing if you were walking around the school with us. Not to be outdone by the fourth graders, the fifth graders also go on a very exciting trip. We go to Washington, D.C. every year. And we go there for 3 days and 2 nights, and we're going to museums, and we're going to monuments, and we're going on a dinner cruise. It's very exciting. And we were really fortunate to be able to become have a relationship and develop a relationship with Congressman John Lewis before his passing. And our students were able to go often to his office to meet with him and be able to talk with him about his experience. And it definitely is something that students who now, these kids who are now in high school and college have, still come back and talk about how powerful it was, to speak with him and to have that experience. So something that we want to make sure that we're kind of conveying to you is how we see education, how we see teaching and learning, what that means to us in terms of having it really be a child-centered, child-focused approach. We really want students to develop their agency. We want them to be able to be reflective. We want them to be able to analyze, their own work. So with that in mind, we don't do parent-teacher conferences. We do family conferences. What that means is students are helping to lead those conferences. Students are a part of those conferences. We don't think it should kind of be a secret of what your child needs to work on or what they're really doing well. Not only should it not be a secret, but they should know that, and they should be able to express that as well. So even in pre-K, students are sharing, this is my work, this is what I'm really proud of, these are things that I need to be working on. And obviously, again, that looks different by the time they get to 5th grade. But that's something that we feel really passionately about. We also don't do the standard Department of Education report cards. We've always done in the past, again, before all this was going on, progress reports where we do a combination of narrative and checklist, where we feel like it just gives a much more comprehensive and accurate, story in terms of the progress and the growth that your child has made, throughout the year.
And something that I wanted to kind of share that we always bring up, and it's so important, is we wanted to talk about our staff. A lot of us have been at CWS for many, many, many years, and I think that's really important for families to know. Our school has been open for over 25, 26 years, and a lot of us teachers have been, and administration and staff have been there a very long time. I have been here over about 17, 18 years. Jessica, how long?
Maybe 13 something
years.
So we're lifers. We're lifers.
Yeah, we're lifers. Sometimes, teachers have moved away, but they've come back. Teachers have had babies and they've come back. So it's and we want families to know that, we are lifers. We really value, and we are here for the work of the children, for the work of for the community. We really believe in our school, and that's why we all choose to stay here. And we really want what's best for the students in our school and in our community. And we want children to also see themselves in their teachers. So you will see, especially for an elementary school, male teachers. You'll see teachers of different cultures. You'll see, all different types of, teachers that might look like them. So, there's that familiarity for students and for them to feel comfortable with. And that's a really important thing to notice for families, that these teachers have been here a long time. It's, when the students come back to visit, they have changed, but they say we all look the same, except the furniture is smaller. So we wanted, we really hope that you've, enjoyed learning about our school. This is very different for Jessica and I. We're used to meeting you in the library, seeing you face to face, but
and before we even go, I just want to mention something else too that I think is really important, because they are rock stars. We have the most amazing SIT team. We have the most amazing special education team who regularly meets to work with students. So if your child is a child who has an IEP, an individualized education plan, we have all of the services that your child could possibly need, whether it's PT, OT, speech, counseling. We have amazing teachers who are the special ed components in ICT classrooms, meaning integrated co-teaching classrooms. We have those classrooms where there are 2 teachers in each classroom. We have them on every single grade level, at least one, from kindergarten to 5th grade. Something to point out too is that the vast majority of our teachers are also actually licensed in special ed as well, or also have training in special ed. So we don't find ourselves in situations where we're not sure what to do, or we're not sure how to handle a situation, because the vast majority of us have that training and are able to start working on interventions and start working on support. And also too, we look at that support for students, in the variety of ways, in the spectrum of ways, right? So there's making sure that we are individualizing and making sure that we are finding ways to differentiate work for students who need support, and also students who also need more of a challenge, students who are particularly, adept at a subject where we need to help them be able to grow even more in that particular area. So that's something that we work very hard at, and we're really proud of. And like Suma said, we're particularly proud too of our diverse staff, and diverse not only in racial diversity, but also, like Suma mentioned, cultural. And we also have all those male teachers too. So we really wanted our school, and Maria and Jean, when they were creating the school, really wanted to make sure it reflected the world, and it reflected Martin Luther King's dream of having that diversity together, and having these honest conversations together, and really wanted to make sure that our little progressive school, was able to create this amazing community, of learning. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for visiting.
We appreciate it. Hope to see you in person. Bye.